You're back once again on an episode of the More People Podcast. You've got Richard and Andrew, so if you tuned in for some high-quality guests, as we are known for bringing those people in, you haven't got them, so turn off now if you don't want to listen to me and Rich vamp and moan. But it's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, indeed. Quite a long time, in fact.
And it feels a little bit, behind the scenes, spoiler alert, it feels a little bit like when they record the New Year's Eve celebrations, not on New Year's Eve. But we are approaching the end of the year. Keen to get your view on 2025 and how you've experienced it, I suppose. What's been good, what's been bad, what's been different to what you expected. How's it been?
It's been quick. I'll give you that. I can't believe we're already where we're at. I think coming into the year, there's an understandable amount of nerves in terms of the economic state, national insurance, what effect that's going to have on people, confidence of hiring, etc. Last summer wasn't really a great summer. Spring didn't really even happen. That had a big impact on our clients. But to be fair, our clients have carried on hiring, new and old. The weather's been outstanding, which has been fantastic news for all of our GEMA, Garden Centre, Hort, fresh produce customers, and that's we felt that a lot. That it really has returned with a bang. But I think we've knocked over records. Our retention's been high, and we're finishing the year in an incredibly strong position. But speaking to clients, it doesn't feel doom and gloom. I don't watch the news anymore for my own mental health. Paddle our own canoe and move it forward. But it's gone so flipping quick. It really has. I can't believe Q4, bang, like when the hell did that happen? It's gone rapid. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, much the same. I mean, we're forever talking on this podcast about the resilience of the people that work in our sector. Yeah. So, and I'm always conscious of how good a barometer we are sometimes, because the clients we talk to tend to be the ones who are doing well. And if you look at share prices of some of the big, massive recruiters out there, I don't think everyone's having a great time. But to your point about paddling our own canoe, we can only control what we can control. The resilience in the sector is, again, almost taken for granted. There's some brilliant people, brilliant companies, so they just crack on, and they've had the benefit, like you say, of some decent weather. I think what we're good at, and this is why the year has gone so quickly, I think what we're good at, even when we've had record months, we'll shout about them, we'll take the team out, we'll pat those on the back who've done well, but we don't rest on those laurels for very long, because we're very conscious that if you follow up a great month or a great quarter with one that's average or rubbish, then it doesn't count for very much. So we celebrate for about 5 minutes and then we crack on with what's in front of us. So the relentless nature of what we do, I think, just compresses the time.
We know what's coming, don't we? You know when it's about to get good because of the metrics and the feel of the place and how close we manage the teams or what have you. And our team are very good at communicating. So when good stuff happens, we know it's been in the pipeline. So kind of had those dopamine hits already. There's an argument we should celebrate more, but it's in our nature and why we keep growing, to keep thinking about what's next, and kind of what drives you. If you look at what maybe you're expecting it to be, you're kind of thinking, well, maybe I should be higher in the bar, and thinking about what else we can do, where else we can specialise. And it's never far out there, but building teams in different sectors, how quickly some of the team have stepped up, to be frank, and really embraced a lot of those things. A few ideas that we've had that have come to fruition quicker than I thought. You spearheaded the exec development consultancy piece that is in full flow now and is gaining traction. When you look at the conference, how quickly that kind of came and went, with the amazing amount of people that stepped up and helped out that and took that to another level. So I think we've definitely learned a lot. We've definitely made mistakes. I've definitely fallen over. I've definitely fallen hard at times. But I think if you don't make mistakes, you just repeat the same year, right? I think there's a lot of that I can look back at and go, yeah, I would have done that differently, or wish I hadn't done that.
We will do those things differently, I think, moving forwards. And none of them have been big, have they? I think we're our own worst critics in that regard, because we do set a high standard, a high set of expectations, which it's not difficult, therefore, to fall short of them. But one of the things that stood out for me this year as well, thinking about some of those initiatives, and I couldn't agree more about how good it's been to see some of the team progress from brand new into the job to being superstars. I feel like with our exec level recruitment, not just the exec development coaching stuff, but with our exec recruitment piece, we've definitely been in the conversation a lot more for some of those bigger roles. And paradoxically, the more in the conversation you are, sometimes the more you can lose. But it's great to be in the conversation pitching for some of those really impressive senior roles. And we know from the conversations we've had with the other big Shrek firm types that they don't win everything they pitch for either. So it turns into the sort of Wayne Gretzky style anecdotes, but it's nice to be able to shoot the shot more than perhaps has been the case in previous years.
Yeah, I think sometimes you've got to judge yourself by what you narrowly missed out on, and the fact that you weren't even in the room a year or two ago, concept to launch and what have you. But cards on the table, I wrote a blog about it not that long ago. You know, you put 40, 50 exec dinners that you host under your belt, you put 25, 50 of these under your belt, whether you like it or not, you're going to learn a lot, you're going to network a lot. We're doing Berlin, Madrid, just from a fruit attraction, fruit logistics piece every year. How many exhibitions we go out as a business over the course of a year? Probably 30 plus. I think when you're doing that amount of work, that's just seen as stock standard. So when you're doing all of that, you are going to network, and you're only as strong as your network. And I think it's growing, and more of the guys are getting out there and doing more and more. We're naturally going to be a bigger, better beast and more well known. And hats off to our marketing team, who do a lot of exceptional work. And I think that has evolved and evolved and evolved. So client experiences, candidate journeys, what we can offer our clients now far outweighs what we were doing 5 years ago. It's not until you stop and you look back at Christ, that has really gone up multiple notches. But that is just our given. Well, I think it's what Sean Sankey said at the conference. You know, what was once believed to be unachievable is now our standard.
We probably don't look back enough to appreciate that fact, because we're so busy looking forwards. You know, we know how many millions of emails the marketing team work through every year with such a range of different value adds and topics to niche groups of people. But if you go back 5 years and have said that's what you're going to be doing in 5 years' time, you'd get laughed at. Yeah. The same for some of the monthly performances, whether those monthly performances are in the early stage metrics, which you can control a bit more readily, or the end product with the outcome goals of the pounds, pence. It's amazing how quickly they become normalized. And you go back 5 years and go, if you'd have been laughed at if you'd have said this would be now a substandard or normal level of performance.
Well, without a doubt. But I think personally, and I think I can speak for yourself on this as well, we embrace making mistakes more. And I think what I've learned a lot is that you suffer more in your own imagination than you do in reality, right? And that embarrassment piece isn't there as much. I'd love to say it wasn't there at all, but it's not there as much. So I think, you know, kind of almost looking forward to making more mistakes, because that means we've took more shots at different things and not just repeated the same year. So I think when you do that and things come off, you're more behind doing it again. And I look at some of the internal divisions that we have. They won't mean anything to people outside of MorePeople, but, you know, we didn't used to have those teams. They were part of one or two others, and now they're a standalone with a team manager and a team of 4 under them. That wouldn't have happened had we not dreamt a little bit bigger. This office, this podcast, these dinners, etc., etc., etc. I kind of want people to laugh at some of our ideas, because if I'm a stubborn bugger, so it'll just make me go even harder at it. But, you know, if I dare to dream and look at 2026, it might sound like a strange thing to say, but kind of looking forward to making 1 or 2 more mistakes.
To segue into what do you think will come and will happen in 2026, I feel so happy and confident that all the things that are on our to-do list are the correct things to do. Yeah. We're going to make some mistakes in the execution of these ideas, but I don't think we're ever scrambling around trying to work out what might be the silver bullet, or should we try this, or shall we try another thing that might work. I think all the things that are on our agenda and to-do list are absolutely the correct things to do. So I feel quite happy and confident and empowered that yes, the list is long. There's a million things we want to implement, but I'm confident they're the right things to do. We're not just guessing.
You're not blindly going into these things. And I think what we've learned over the course of time, working together years before that, is that every idea that you've got, if it's good enough to share, that's great, but you've then got to sleep on it, because I'm impulsive as hell, as you well know. And it's sometimes you just have to kind of stop and go, hang on a minute, that would have been a horrendous idea. You've got to have ideas every day. And I do, and you might not believe me, but only half of them get to your door. But it's you got to keep thinking about that. But when we stop and we take stock and we plan, me and you both know what at least H1 looks like in terms of things that we need to knock over in 2026, and undoubtedly they are the right things to do. We also know there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be curveballs, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be steps backwards. There'll also be other opportunities that might leap up that to-do list. And I think that's where we speak about the resilience of the nature of the industries we recruit into, but the resilience of us and our team is very, very strong. We've got a damn good group of people, and we train and we train and we train and we reinvest. And I think never wanting to wish the future away as we get older, but 2026 I'm super excited about for various reasons, the obvious ones, but I think it could be our biggest, our best, and should be our biggest and best year.
And it's going to be different. I think that's the thing that is brilliant. Even though I'm now 21 years into a recruitment career, it's going to be different. If I'd have done the same year 21 times over, I'd have 1 year experience 21 times, wouldn't I? But and use that phrase all the time with the team. But next year, undoubtedly, there's going to be some core stuff you just have to do, because that's the nature of the discipline and a baseline level of activity. But there's going to be so many new things next year that won't be new just for a contrarian, random, speculative reason. They're going to be the right things to build on top of the foundations that are core. I don't know what they all are yet. I know what some of them are. We know what some of them are.
Yeah. Disclaimer: this is pre-November 30th for the autumn budget. So,
yeah. If there's a nuclear holocaust and the world ends before then yeah, this is all irrelevant. But assuming that doesn't happen, yeah, I think next year is going to be exciting. And when we get back on the 2nd of Jan, I'm not going to be sad about, having to start a new year and do it again, because it'll be, that makes us weird probably when everyone comes back a bit fatter and poorer and it's dark and cold and payday's a long way away. But I will come back excited and enthused and looking forward to tackling those challenges.
Yeah, very much so. And almost every month, every quarter, definitely every half and every year, someone will step up that you weren't expecting to step up that quick, maybe. That's what I kind of look forward to when you look at the personal development. Most of it being internal, but you get the occasional customer that all of a sudden you're very close to, or you're being able to add a huge amount of value. That's the bit that excites me. It's everything that we know already, but it's the people we've not even met yet, the customers, the candidates, the vendors that we haven't even met yet, that suddenly become a massive part of what we do. I think that's kind of exciting, and having that fun there to know that we can, try a couple of things and fall over or evolve or scrap. But, I think 2026, there'll be a fair few new things happening in MorePeople, most of which we know about, some of which we're not even sure about yet. But I think that's what will drive me back in on the 2nd to get closer to those things happening. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. See you on the other side.
Yeah, best of luck.